What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pinoy News. Man, listen. So I wanted to stand here and break down this video that was recommended to me today, right? And because I watched it, and it's one of these videos about traditional male masculinity. And I'll be honest with you, the vast majority of the people who speak about masculinity and males and these ideologies haven't really put much thought into their shit. Just keeping us 100% honest. And you can tell because of the fact that, like, it has a lot of views, right? Like, videos that have a shit ton of views about masculinity as a whole tend to be very simplistic and dumb because, like, they don't push on the boundaries of what the understanding is. Because the idea of being a male and being a man is built over, 10,000 years of males in our societies and like our species and all the things that we've done and having these roles and breaking it down in a 9 or 10 minute video is number one going to be very, very difficult, but number two is it's going to lack a very good understanding of like what's actually going on and the reasons why things are the way they are, right? And I feel like we should have these conversations in depth about this stuff. And we do it all the time, which is great. And I love the fact guys like Mountain come on and like have these talks with us, right? Like I get older guys, we get younger guys, and we talk about this shit because once you start having an understanding of what it is that like you're really talking about, in the end of the day, the whole thing kind of becomes a little more clear. So I'm gonna tell you what, we're gonna watch this video and I'm gonna chime in. Let's rock on.
Before the Industrial Revolution, it was typical for men to work with their sons for a large portion of the day.
When I was a kid, my mom used to like get mad and she dropped me off with my dad at his job sites because my dad did like HVAC work and construction work. And I'd be a 5, 6, 4, 3, 2-year-old kid, right? Who my mom had enough of. And she would, just go, you take him. Right. And I'd be on a job site with my pops. And, like my dad, sometimes he's seen it as like a fucking burden, And later on in life, he bitched about it. Right. But, you know, at that time, he'd smile and hug me because he knew what the deal was, right? And he'd take me and we'd go on the job sites and the other guys would, stand here and show me things and what to do. And he'd have me carrying buckets or helping him out, whatever the case is, right? But I'll be honest with you, going with him onto a job site never really felt like major punishment. But I knew that, my mother was upset about something, whatever the case was at that moment. And it gave me a very good understanding of how to deal with other men and be around other men, business owners or electricians or, like construction workers. And it gave me an appreciation of working for a living and being that type of person. Like, let's keep going though.
Or on the family farm, or in the family business. Fathers would impart to their kids life lessons in those situations in addition to the leadership, security, and provision lessons expected of men, especially in the tribal times. The father yielded great power. His leadership was accepted by the people, women, and children under him. With this leadership also came a burden of responsibility that the father had to bear.
Now, look, all right. You became a leader because you took responsibility, right? And you handled that responsibility well. This is something that was seen in an individual throughout childhood and adolescence coming up, right? Like you would have with Machiavelli, he would say that like in every one man in 10, there would be more life in him, right? And that man would, be given the lead of, this, platoon or division or whatever you want to call it, brigade, squad, whatever. And so these men would be picked out for leadership because of their skills and their abilities, right? And these men who led households, right? Females courted and dated them and fathers approved of them. And this is why only like really 30% of men like really had the opportunity to be able to, have children throughout history in the end of the day. The reason is because of the fact that a lot of men weren't approved of as a thing. It's a new thing to stand here and actually have every man have a woman, right? That's kind of a newer thing. And it's because of the fact that only select men would stand here and take that responsibility and be a leader and lead the household, lead the family, lead the tribe, right? And this was something that was earned because of responsibility taken, because of ability shown, right? This is a different thing. It's because when the chips are down and things are bad, you knew you could bet on this guy because he was great under pressure. That was why he was given that leadership, not because he wasn't given the leadership just because he was a dude. This is a fucking dumb misconception that a lot of people fucking have.
But the fathers and sons today have a completed twisted dynamic compared to what used to happen before. Truth be told, the father is not even there 80% of the time in the house now. This applies to both the mother and the father. Just to make ends meet, both the father and the mother are forced to go to work, leaving their children in care centers or schooling systems. So basically put,
Let's be honest here, all right? With 50% of marriages ending in divorce, at least 50% of kids are being raised in a single mother household, or even if the mother has a dude there, that dude has to treat the kid a certain way in order for the mother to approve of him being there. Important understanding to have. That's a completely female-centered dynamic. It's not centered around the child. It's centered around a female. The child is a pet that needs to be treated well. That's the difference. The discipline and the hardships that a father will offer you and go like, yo, man, listen, you're going to have to work up to your blessing. You know, you want to stand here and have this opportunity, you're going to have to fucking put yourself in a position to get there. That's things that fathers stand here and do. They like, hey, look, I'm not just going to give this to you. You're not owed shit. You have to be able to motherfucking do this for yourself. You want to be able to sit here and, you know, go and, I don't know, go to the concert or whatever nonsense that kids do. I don't know, whatever bullshit it is, right? You know what I mean? Like, yo, hey, look, you're going to have to sit here and keep your grades up. You're going to have to sit here and do this. You're going to sit here and mow the lawn or whatever it is, right? Stepfather can't do that for you because, like, yo, the mother as a whole, right? The mother is the center of that. You know what I mean? So therefore, like, yo, that kid knows that his dynamic is above that dude. Reality.
the state is the one that raises the children now, not the parents. If you know anything about the state, then you would know whether or not this is a good thing or not. In your own life as well, there would have been so many masculine things that you weren't taught because your father wasn't as present as he would have been if it was the tribal days. As such, you won't be able to pass down that information to your sons because you weren't blessed with the knowledge. Hence, each generation of men now is less knowledgeable and less masculine than the one that came before it. Just take a look at everything around you. The transition to maturity can be more challenging for certain boys. Some boys commit crimes or become victims, while other
men who commit crimes, how do I put this? Most crimes that children are convicted of, right, are actually crimes that aren't crimes at all. They're just, you know what I mean, like they don't fit into the cultural zeitgeist of where we are today. Like anytime one child lays a hand on another inside of a school, the school will have that child arrested because of the fact that like your mothers and suburbanite white people will sue the schools. And the school, therefore, has now had what's known as the portal doctrine, where from portal to portal, which basically is like your front door to your front door, the state is now responsible for your child. And anything bad that happens to him, the state has to pay you or, you know what I mean, be responsible for your kid. And therefore, any child who tries to harm your kid, they have to have the police involved, right? Because it's easier than being able to try to discipline this child because, like, yo, they can't sit here and have the mediation put upon themselves. They'd much rather let the courts figure it out. This is something that we don't really have a lot of conversations about what we do on my channel on a regular basis, right? And this idea, this mental that we really look at, right? These aren't actual crimes. These are things that like would have been normal 20 or 30 years ago, you know, coming up. It's just been a normal thing for kids to get into fights and arguments, and kids would have stood here and stolen from each other and learned these lessons and, you know what I mean, squabbled it out and figured out their place in the world. These ideas right? These problems that these kids have aren't social problems as a whole, right? These are things of children just trying to figure shit out. And the ones that commit crimes tend to end up actually doing better than other kids in the long run, as far as, being able to like handle things and, lower amounts of mental disorders, all these types of things, right? Because of the fact that like these children are actual figuring things out and becoming full-fledged people rather than, just putting their head down and getting medicated to shit and ending up medicated the rest of their life because of the fact that they're just trying to like comply with the system. This is where these ideas, right? These are where these things, these crimes that people talk about, is nonsense. They're not having a hard time coming up. They're not made for this system. And therefore, you call them criminals. Very simple thing.
Abuse drugs or experience mental health issues like depression. Some boys even...
Depression is not a real thing. So I'm going to put that out there. It's just not. All right. Like the vast majority of like the mental disorders that we, stand here and talk about for people as a whole today is just bullshit. Right. It's literally like, you're not supposed to feel good sitting for 7 hours a day behind a desk, away from the sunlight, away from the world, away from doing things physically. Right. Being fed chicken nuggets and fucking cheeseburgers out of a goddamn fucking freezer. It's not the way life's supposed to work. You're not supposed to live this way. You're supposed to be hunting and killing animals, running around and playing in the water, and, fucking going fishing, catching things. Like this is what you're made to do. And when you don't do that, your body doesn't feel proper. You're not getting proper dietary needs. You're not depressed. Let's keep going.
Perform poorly in class or quit, even as they age and develop.
Literally, like you just said, the state is raising your kids inside of a school, right, that's made to watch your children while you go and fucking work. And you're like, these kids are performing poorly in class. No fucking shit. They're not supposed to be in that fucking class. They're supposed to be with their father working. We just went over this. Why? You're legit. Why? Like... The fuck are you talking about?
They cannot improve their situation and end up miserable. Truth be told, 95% of...
By the way, like, there's going to be like a lot of movie clips. It's always strange to me, individuals who talk about like the olden times and things of this nature, like refer back to movies as if like they're like real life. Like these ridiculous things that you watch on TV look nothing like what it used to be. Right? They don't have the feel, like you don't like it, or none, like, no, okay? No, that's not how any of this shit works.
Time. These problems are a direct result of poor home training. Why? Simple.
No, it's not. Again, you are not made to sit in a class all day long. That's not how you're supposed to live as a child. Like, why? This is not poor home training. Like, yo, Jesus fuck, let's keep going.
Because each son needs the presence of a man in his life to guide him, to help him understand the value of virtues. Society won't teach him that, nor will the media. As a man, it's your responsibility to win back your mask.
Look at it. You're watching a dude fucking training in boxing. Do you notice what that is? It's physical activity. That's when men feel their best, when they're doing physical activity. Regardless of the dopamine hit that fucking, getting a fucking headshot in Call of Duty does. Legitimately. Right? This bullshit of sitting here and pretending that like, physical activity doesn't make you feel even better is fucking dumb. Let's keep going.
Masculinity. And I truly mean, win it back. It's a fight you must fight daily against society's degeneracy. And above all, against your own dark self that wants to give in. With that said, what are the 7 manly things every father should teach his son how?
Look at this. You're watching people fight with swords and axes. This is the problem with like these dumbass YouTube channels as a thing, right? Like if they're not giving examples of like actual manhood, right? That's not what manhood's about. Manhood's about getting up every fucking day, right? And going to try to provide for your fucking kids. That's what manhood's about. 100%. That's really what it is. It is every day defeating those things inside of your head to say, bro, I just want to sleep. Like, I don't want to do this again, right? Because like, yo, everybody feels that way. I'm talking about, no, do what you're passionate about. You ruin your passions if you make money off of it. Like 100%. Ask, yo, go to any fucking garage and look at the employee parking where the mechanics are, right? And you look around, you know what you'll see? A bunch of piece of shit fucking Hondas, right? Not like souped up ones with nitrous. I'm talking about like 90s Honda Accords and shit that'll run like 1,000,000 miles because they don't want to work on it. Because they're so miserable from working on shitbag cars all day that they no longer enjoy what it is that they like they went into that fucking business to be fucking to enjoy the shit that they loved. They loved cars when they were little kids. They did 1,000,000 miles on their knees with their Matchbox cars. Go look at like NFL players. Legitimately, they don't like playing football outside of fucking like football. Their knees are busted. They're fucked up. It's work. You're turning passionate things that you love into fucking work. This is the problem. That's why, like, yo, every doctor, like, ends up, like, fucking smoking and drinking with fucking addicted to some shit and end up killing themselves. These are fucking real things that happen because you got into this business to help people, and you come to find out people don't want fucking help. They just want fucking drugs. Like, yo, this is the reality of life. It's dragging your carcass to fucking work to provide for your fucking kids, regardless of whether or not you want to, regardless of how your fucking kids and your fucking family treat you. Right? Tolerating what the fuck it is the system hands you and keep pushing forward. No matter how bad life gets you, keep pushing fucking forward. And you don't stop. Every fucking day, you get up and you fucking grind and you do what you gotta fucking do. Every day. That's what life is for a man. The same as it was 10,000 years ago when you were hunting down a fucking antelope. You know why you did that? It wasn't so you could eat. You did that shit so your seed could. So when you came home with that fucking animal, and that little 2-year-old kid looked up at you with his fucking little bucked ass teeth and shit and smiled at you. And you hand them a one fucking piece of meat. And you're sitting there, you know what I mean? You're fucking hungry and you feed him first. Because he's why you did it. That's what that shit's about. That's why it is you go and do that shit. Men sacrifice themselves for things greater than them. That's what men do. Let's keep rocking though.
How to do. Number 1, explain the importance of winning and losing. It is never simply a comfortable all-around victory for anyone, unless we are deliberately aiming to be unrealistic.
Yo, look, really simply put, for every time you win, there's something you lose. It's that simple. Winning and losing is fine. Like, yo, man, listen, all right? Like, I've won a lot of things in sports, right? You know what I mean? Like I played all the sports when I was a kid. But my best times in sports were when I was working with somebody who was on my team and they got better and they did something amazing, right? That's the best shit. It's not about you. Again, men sacrifice themselves for others, right? You're not, like, you got to get that idea out of your head of like being a winner and being a loser, right? Because like a lot of times, like winning oftentimes means sacrificing everything. And in the end of the day, like you get back to that old proverb, like what good is it for a man to gain the world but lose his own soul in the process? It's important. Like legitimately, winning is not everything. It's just not. Like 100, it's just not, dude. Uh, these fucking dumb wannabe alpha males don't get that shit. Like, you know how many times, like, I've had dudes come up and push me, and I hug them, and I look at them, and they look at me, and they realize, you're like, he's saving my life right now. And the people around me come to me and go, why didn't you just break him? And I go, because I already could. Why would I be worried about breaking this dude? He's just drunk and being dumb right now. Like, there was no need for me to smash him. It's unnecessary. Like, why? What would that prove? I beat up a drunk guy that I could have beat up sober? Like, come on, man. The fuck? Why? Winning ain't everything, son. It's not. It's not, dude. That fucking shit out of your head. It's stupid.
No matter how much effort you put in, everyone must fail at some point. But there's the reality. Society will have you believing that you should be comfortable with losing. That couldn't be further from the truth. Failing is inevitable. But if you get comfortable with failing, that becomes your identity. As the saying goes, be prepared for the worst, but hope for the best. Meaning, never be comfortable with failure, but know that it's a part of journey that you must.
No, that's not what that means, right? It's like hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Like, yo, preparing for the worst is on that level of where it goes like, yo, look, man, if you're going to do something that's going to risk a lot of shit, right? You should probably stash something back. Like, you should be ready for the inevitable, like, fucking, if things go fucking sideways. There's also another proverb that says, like, hey, man, you want to hear God laugh? Tell him about your fucking plans. I'm going to tell you something that's really important right now, right? One of the most important things I ever learned. Luck is preparation meets opportunity. It's that simple, right? Yo, you want to be lucky in life? Be prepared. You ready to rock? You know what I mean? Like, yo, be in double Dutch mode. When it's that time of the day, you know what I'm saying? You have that opportunity, jump on it. It's that simple. But you got to wait for that opportunity. Sometimes you can make it yourself, which is great. But sometimes it's about waiting. Winning and losing isn't important. It's just not, right? It's about, like, learning when to strike. Boxing isn't about, like, just swinging till your arms fall the fuck off and hoping you win. It's not, right? Yeah, you want to win that boxing match. 100% you do. But on the same point, you want to box well. Wait for your fucking timing. Set up your shots. Get to where you need to be. One step at a time. Maintain your angles. Counter. Duck. Move. Winning isn't worth it if you're going to die. Sometimes it is. A lot of times it's not. Let's keep rocking them.
Find a fix for as soon as possible. There are so many men today who live a hopeless life. They live in their addictions, injecting up sugar up their veins. That's the definition of getting comfortable with failure. Sure, you may be addicted. Yes, you may have failed, and everyone has their own demons to fight, but that's...
Yo, look, man. 90% of addiction is your inability to deal with pain. Let's keep this 100%. Right. From an old head, yo, young bulls out here. Get comfortable with pain, bro. Pain sucks. It's part of life. Eat it. Sometimes you got to smile when it hurts. Actually, every time it hurts, you should smile. Smile, motherfucking look up at the heavens and go, it's all right, I got this. Stop trying to avoid pain. That's literally what fucking 99% of addiction is avoiding pain. Deal with it. You have to deal with your pain sober. Just is what it is. Let's keep rocking.
It's no excuse for accepting defeat. Hold your head high and shoot for the stars. That literally means to go out and win. Why? Because you represent your bloodline, yourself, your masculinity.
100%. You represent your bloodline. You represent your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, all the men who came before you to allow you to be here, all the men who risked their lives to bring you here. They're watching you. Act honorably. It's not always about winning. It's about being honorable. That's what you're missing. This guy fucking is retarded. Like, just keeping us a buck.
And above all, the one who made you, God Almighty. Number 2, teach him moderation and self-control.
Let me say something about this God Almighty thing. Real shit. God's got your back. No matter what happens, he got you. Have faith in him. You have faith in you. Have faith in you because he made you. It's an important lesson you have to learn in life. God made you. Have faith in that. Have faith in yourself. That's the big part of that shit.
Self-control is a crucial skill that a father should impart to his son. Even though many actions or substances feel fantastic at the time, the dad should always explain to his kid that addiction is only one step away. To prevent addiction to the wrong things, he needs to learn how to exercise moderation and self-control in everything. Number 3.
All right. So here's the thing, okay? This is kind of like very, very important when it comes down to it. This is something I've taught all my sons. Delayed gratification. That's what that shit's about, right? That's what moderation really is in the end of the day. It is delayed gratification. It is you want to stand here and be able to put a beer. What I do is when I clean, right? Fucking like my dad, every Sunday we'd clean, right? On Sunday mornings when his wife and his other 2 sons would go to church, right? Because like we weren't Methodist, you know what I'm saying? We weren't really, how do I put this? Accepted there as being Catholics, right? We were Italians. We weren't part of their white Anglo-Saxon Protestant thing, right? But what we would do is we'd stay home, we'd clean. And he would crack a beer and he'd put it on the counter, right? And he'd clean. And then when we were done cleaning, he'd come and pick the beer up. I do the same thing. Or, you know what I mean? Like I'll put a pork roast on, some potatoes. And then I'll go clean. And I'll clean the entire house. And I'll come back and, you know what I mean? I'll have a beautiful meal at the end of it or a drink or whatever the case is. Whatever it is I want to do, it'll wait until I'm done doing all the things that I need to do first. Before I stand here and buy myself anything throughout the week or at the end of the week, I pay all my bills first. That's what that's about. It's about handling your responsibilities first. And then you can deal with whatever else it is you need to deal with. That's what that moderation thing is. Because you're earning something. Real shit. And you'll find out, you know what I mean? Like once you get to that beer, like, yo, it's good, but, you know, like you don't really need it. Moderation is highly important. Having self-control. Highly the fuck important. Let's keep going.
Teach him basic domestic activities. Yes, we all want a traditional housewife who will take care of the house for us and help us stay focused on our journey. But one of the greatest keys a young man can unlock is independence. Listen to that again. One of the greatest keys a young man can unlock is independence. Think about the ancient times. You may have watched the 300 movies as well, where young boys were trained from childhood to become independent.
I'm so tired. It's like, yo, stop referencing like movies that aren't real. Like legit. Like, yo, these were not written by Greek historians, right? Legitimately, these kids were raped repeatedly. We'll get back to that later. It's not important, okay? All right. So I 100% agree you should teach a kid domestic, you know what I mean, duties. And there's a reason for this, right? Taking care of the things that you have is an important part of manhood. I have this problem of where, like, if somebody gives me something, I tend not to take care of it as much as I take care of something that I earned myself, right? Say it be a computer, whatever the case is, right? Doesn't really matter. And So therefore, I have this problem where like the things that I do take care of are the things that like I really care about, my car, my house, like my kids and my female, right? Whatever it is. Like I make sure that like I take care of those things because I earn them. Right. And that's really what this is because you're respecting yourself by respecting the things that you own. That's what that's about. The end of the day. And it gives you a big ass ego boost and a big like jolt of, like, I don't know, like that serotonin type of shit where like once you had the dishes done and you wipe off your counters and, you fucking sweep and mop the floor and you look at it, it smells good and it looks good. And you feel good about yourself because all of a sudden your house is clean. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you took care of some shit. It's like repainting a room. It feels good to do these type of things. Same with your car. When you wash your car. Same with you getting in the shower. Same with you, standing here like getting nice and cleaned up and putting on a fresh suit. You feel good about yourself when you take care of yourself or the thing that you own because you're respecting yourself, because you earn those things. It has literally nothing to do with independence. Independence is important, 100%, but not for that reason. Independence is important because you want to be able to walk away from shit. I was talking to a guy about this the other day, and I said, look, the reason why you want to take a man camping, teach him to fish, teach him how to do all these things, teach him how to hunt, teach him how to skin and clean animals, why you want to teach a boy this is because you're giving him an option, right? To where all else fails, he can go to the woods and provide for himself, right? And that's an extreme way of looking at it, but it is a way of looking at it. It's where you go, I can walk away from this and still be okay. Like, I know I can get it done. I'll be fucking fine without this. Because knowing how to walk away from stuff is just one of the most important skills that you can teach anyone, is learning how to go, fuck you, I'm out. I can do it on my own. I'll take my ball and go to hell home. Important shit. Most valuable asset that you have is you. End of the day. Your self-respect is utterly important. Now, does that mean that you should jeopardize like your family's well-being because like you feel a way about your boss correcting you about something? No. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that like you should stand here and have the ability to walk away from a bad situation and not feel scared that you're not going to be able to provide for yourself. That's what independence is about. It's literally about you going, I'm good. I don't need this shit. And walking away. That's what it is that we're talking about here. Let's keep going though.
In extreme cases, the boy would be left out in the wild alone to learn how to hunt, cook food, make shelter, and survive. Independence is at the root of masculinity. Why? Because only an independent man can be truly grounded. If you depend on others for everything, you can be bended to obey others. Number 4, teach him a few male tricks. As a male child, your son should be able to perform a few easy male activities that most women might see as some complex masculine magic, but in a real sense, they are easy. Things like starting a fire, fixing simple car issues, changing a flat tire, using a nail and hammer, and so on. These simple activities and tricks will usually come in handy someday in his life, and once they have been mastered, they stick forever.
Yeah, I was just talking about this last night, right, with a fucking Zoomer who's like, well, if my car gets broke, I'll call Geico and they'll come fix it. And I'm like, that's not how that works, dude. That's just not how that fucking works. You should know how to do the very basics of male activities. And at this point, I'll be honest with you, you should learn how to do the basics of female activities too. Because you're probably going to have to teach your female how to do most of them because her parents are going to be fucking trash boomers or Gen Xers who are just corporate tools. You know what I mean? Because if you want a female that's, like that is built to do what you need her to do, you're going to have to take her to the Build Abroad workshop and, like actually teach her that shit. So you're going to have to learn how to cook. You're going to have to learn how to clean. You're going to have to learn how to show her how to be the individual you need her to be because they have no fucking idea how to do it anymore. because their parents are not teaching them. No one's going to teach her the importance of being a proper female. Let's keep rocking.
Number 5. Teach him how to make money. A Jewish man was asked one day, "How do you make so much money?" He said, "It's simple. Where one..."
All right. Again, the love of money is the root of all evil. In the end of the day, I'll be honest with you. Okay, I've held $50, $60, $100,000 in my fucking hands, and I've blown it in a week. Right? It's not hard to do. Okay, money comes, money goes. That's part of life. It's that simple. It makes life easier, but ultimately you have to understand what money is. It's a tool to give you freedom. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what money does. It keeps the wolves at bay. Right? So what my grandfather did was he taught all of his sons a trade, right? Whether it be, framing or roofing or drywalling or electrical or plumbing or whatever, right? Fixing shit, fixing cars, whatever it is. He taught all of them a trade, right? That way, even if they didn't use it, they would never be without cash. This is where the learning how to do male things is highly important. Teaching your sons how to do these type of things will allow them in a pinch when shit's down on your luck and you can't find a job in your field and go, I can fix neighborhood cars. You know what I mean? I can walk around and, I don't know if I can do gardening or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Like cutting grass. You can get a lawnmower out of the trash and fix it and sell it. Excuse me. These things are utterly important in the end of the day, right? Because these little dumbass things will allow you to survive a couple more days when need be. Let's keep rocking.
Jewish man makes money. 5 other Jews make money with him. So it's a simple matter of having unity and passing on that knowledge around. There couldn't be a better way of sharing that information than with your own son. You may have seen some millionaires saying that they will never give their money to their children. But that's not...
Well, those are greedy fucks, and fuck them.
Not to say that they won't teach them how they made their money. It's like that saying, give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. So it's your responsibility.
You ever been fly fishing? Like, I can fly fish a little bit. I'm not terrible. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, I'd much rather fish with a regular pole, just to be honest with you. I don't know. I like bait fishing. That's kind of my thing.
In fact, it's your obligation to pass on your years of knowledge on. Number 6, teach him how to read others. 90% of life is based on being able to read others. A man that can read others is likely to succeed in anything. You will find it easier to interact with women.
All right. So this is kind of important, right? And this is actually something that you should teach your kids. My pops used to call it playing the game, right? And I'll be real with you. I fucking hated this shit with a passion, like, because I was always taught to be honorable, right? And to be a man who didn't have, like, my father was much smaller than me, right? And me being a bigger dude, me being much more menacing, me having a deeper voice, me having more confidence and swagger, my ability to sway a room and be charismatic and carry, like, people along, for what I needed them to do was always much easier. I didn't have to play as many games as he did. Now this goes, to whatever, like, you have to figure out, like, what your kid is. Is your kid going to be a monster? You're going to have to teach him different things, right? Is your kid going to be a small little puny grunt? You're probably going to have to teach him how to be more manipulative and read individuals and be able to get by, right? These are the type of things that you have to learn as a father, right? And then be able to teach your kids, right? And this is something that many people are just in general lacking as a whole, and even lacking in their own self-understanding of who they are, right? What I try to do a lot of times is not get noticed. Like, I don't want to be noticed unless I'm around, if that makes any sense, right? I try to blend into the background a lot of times, just because of the fact that I don't want to have to be at the front of things, because most of the time I am. Like,
hold strong negotiations, carry out meetings or business ventures. It all begins from understanding human psychology. what turns people on or off, how to appeal to their interests, and calibrate your actions based on their body language and words. You would come across so many people today that can't even carry a normal 1-minute conversation. Well, it all begins from childhood. If your father didn't teach you, then, as I said before,
Teach your kids jokes. You'd be amazed how many times in life just having like a bag of jokes at your background, like, will just allow you to endear yourself to a group of people. Like, it just makes just the whole world so much easier to deal with. Like, there's just like having a bag of jokes at your disposal to tell to other men makes life just so much better.
it's your responsibility to gather this information. And finally, number 7, teach him to take responsibility. In today's world, it seems like nobody wants to take responsibility for their actions. Teach your son at a young age how to take responsibility for everything he does or says. He should know that he cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but he can change himself. And that is something he is in charge of.
Okay. Americans are allergic to responsibility, right? And you 100% should be responsible for yourself. But, very important, when you can avoid responsibility, you should try to do it as much as possible. Like, it seems counterintuitive to like the manhood credo, right? But like on the same, like it's kind of on that level of where you go, when you can put off responsibility, do so. When it behooves you to take responsibility, take responsibility. If you're in a business environment and you're on a low level of the fucking totem pole, the best thing you can do is take responsibility. And like one of the great ways of doing this is sweeping the floors, right? On some basic shit. Like if you work on like a dock or whatever the case is, wherever you work in a store or whatever, sweep. You know what I mean? Like, yo, act like, I mean, you give a fuck about the place you work, right? And people will take notice to that shit. Like, oh man, listen, this guy's over here fucking sweeping and cleaning up and shit. You know what I mean? Wipe some stuff off, look busy. You know what I mean? Be busy. You will find yourself having a lot of success with these type of methods in business, right? Having responsibility for things. Now, on the same point, like people try to pass off that responsibility and give you more responsibility without paying you, right? They'll give you like assistant manager or like team leader or these type of things where like all of a sudden you have whole new responsibilities making like 10 cents more an hour. Fuck that. Keep it in the book. Fuck that shit. Right? That shit is not worth doing. It's just in general not. Right? You're much better, you know what I mean, not having that responsibility and letting some other dummy take the fucking slings and arrows and bullets, right? Of what, you know what I mean, morons do. Figure out your place. It's highly important. Right? Taking responsibility, like, yo, a lot of times is going to lead you into problems. Now, you're not going to succeed if you don't take responsibility. But on the same level, if you take responsibility, a lot of the times it's just going to get you punched in the face and it's unnecessary. Like, just try to figure out an even keel to that type of shit in today's society as a whole, right? Because we don't live in a world where like taking responsibility makes you into a proper thing. And don't bite off more than you can chew, right? Legitimately, like, you take responsibility for some things, and we'll keep this 100% honest. Like, if you're not capable of having that responsibility, like Biggie say, yo, a strong word called consignment. You know what I mean? Like, yo, if you don't have the clientele, say hell no. It's important. If you don't have the ability, don't take responsibility for shit. So, look, it's Tom Fees with Pinoy News. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe, man. Peace be like one. I'm out of here.